It's time to focus on seniors with Helping Seniors TV. The television show designed to make you aware of senior issues and needs, as well as to acquaint you with the resources available to help you age in place and with dignity. Now, here's your host, Joe Steckler.
I'm Joe Steckler, and welcome to Helping Seniors, the television arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. Our show is designed to provide you with information on how to develop your own aging and care plans. Our topic today is helping and caring for seniors. Joining me is Jennifer Helin with Seniors Helping Seniors and Kay Kaiser, Information Specialist with Helping Seniors of Brevard. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kay.
Thank you.
And viewers, I want to try to impress on you as you watch this show to listen to the little things that we exchange with each other to show how a caregiving and sort of a care information organization can work together to help seniors. The important thing is knowing when to call, who to call, and the resources that are available. And I want to start with you, Kay.
Okay.
Because I want you to explain to our viewers what Helping Seniors does and how it's important to being the thing that completes, not competes with other organizations,
Absolutely.
but it completes.
That's right.
Your turn.
Okay. Typically, if someone is reaching out, whether a senior or their caretaker, to try to find the right resources oftentimes becomes extremely overwhelming. They don't know where to turn. They may call and just get simply, okay, call this number. But when I receive a call, I typically find that a senior calling may not even just have one issue. I take the time with them, they open up and they say, you know, I really need help on this too. Can you point me the right direction? So what I have found that by developing trustworthy resources, reliable, people we know that are going to fulfill and treat that senior right, it's a more personal touch. And I know working with Jennifer Helin here, when I receive a call for somebody saying, I need some help for my mother. And I ask, well, does your mother need help bathing or dressing or anything? No, my mother just needs help, light housekeeping. She may need help with transportation to the grocery. She may need help vacuuming, or she may just be lonely. And I know that if I say, I'm going to have Jennifer Helin call you from Seniors Helping Seniors, that it's going to go full circle. And the people have been extremely impressed because they get a personal person on the telephone that takes the time with them.
Yeah. So what you do is you have you have knowledge of the array of resources.
Right.
You know how to connect the caller to those resources.
Right.
And you have the information that I'd say 95% of the time they don't have. And we got a couple of testimonials we'll talk about later in the show.
Absolutely.
But Jennifer, how about you telling our viewers exactly what Seniors Helping Seniors is, what it does? And I always like for you to explain how you got started, because I think it's important.
Well, Seniors Helping Seniors is a company who we hire seniors to go out and help other seniors so that they can stay at home and independent. So we only hire seniors to go out, and we do those non-medical things like transportation, housekeeping, meal preparation. We can do medication reminders, any of those non-medical things that a senior might need to be able to stay at home. We're kind of that first rung in the ladder of care for seniors. And it's my mom and I that started Seniors Helping Seniors, brought it here to Brevard County. It started back in 1998 in Reading, Pennsylvania by a wonderful woman, Karen Yoakum, and she recognized the need for seniors to get good quality care from someone a little closer in age who really understands and is compassionate and caring and patient and kind with them. And,
I think it's important, though, that you just again remind our viewers who that person in Pennsylvania used to work for.
She worked for Mother Teresa for 14 years, so she has got just an incredible heart.
Yes.
And when you go up there, when Mom and I sat down and we said, all right, this is really what we want to do, we went up to Pennsylvania and sat down with her.
You had to do that.
Oh yes, you had to do that. And you sit across the table from her and she says, I'm not giving you a franchise. I may grant you one. You may get one, but you're not buying a franchise. She wants to make sure that this is her heart and soul. She wants to make sure that you are someone who is going to carry that mindset and that heart and soul out there. So she's very fussy, but
Well,
that's a good thing.
I can honestly say, in the time that I have known you and watched and heard the results of the people you have hired going into homes to help people, I have never heard a bad complaint.
Thank you.
Not
Thank
one
you.
time. And I think it's important, viewers, to understand. I just recently talked to somebody that has a 102-year-old mother in the hospital, and they can only keep her 12 more days in the hospital, and they're going to have to make a decision. Some of the siblings want the mother brought home. One of the siblings says, you can't do that. We can't care for her, and she needs to go to a nursing home. She's not eating. She's 102. Her mind's as clear as a bell, but she can't walk. She can't do anything. Now, if they bring her home, they're going to have to hire 2 caregivers around the clock. It's going to run them in an order of $12,000 plus a month. You, on the other hand, were helping a lady that could still get around, but she got to the point where, tell that story. You're the one that you were helping in the morning and then at night?
Oh, our lady down in Barefoot Bay.
Right.
Yes. She's a sweetheart. She really needed, in the beginning, we were just helping in the morning, and we did that for almost 2 years. She would take her medications, forget that she had taken them and taken them again.
Ooh.
And then sometimes take them again. And so that really set her morning off to a whirl. She'd end up calling 911, go to the ER. The doctors, paramedics, everyone said she cannot be at home anymore. It's just not safe. And so the kids, in one final attempt to keep her at home, called us. We went in every morning. Once she had taken her medications, we would put the med box away. We would take it out the next morning. She would take all of her medications on her own. That's the only part that we were doing, but we made sure she had breakfast and we made sure she had a really good start to her morning. And that's all she needed for 2 years. That's all she needed. Once she was up and ready, only had those, the medications that she was prescribed by the doctor, she was great. And she was successfully able to stay at home just with those 2 hours.
And what
like
did
I said,
it cost
for 2
her a
years.
month for that service?
Less than $1,000.
Right. Then what happened a little later on?
Well, we did end up adding 2 hours in the afternoon.
Right. But the total cost of 2 hours service in the morning, you got her up and you put her to bed.
Mm-hmm.
She stayed in her own home. The family was happy. And the cost, I remember the story, the cost was around $2,400 a month.
Right.
As opposed to $6,000 or $7,000 in an assisted living facility.
Right. And it was actually a little less than $2,000.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important for you, our viewers, to understand that there are so many resources just like Jennifer, and there are ways to access these resources through Kay Kaiser,
Right.
the information specialist here at Helping Seniors. What are some of the other ways that the two of you interact as an information specialist and as a caregiver? Kay,
Okay.
go first.
Well, for one, we stay in touch quite frequently.
Yes, we do.
And I've asked Jennifer to submit to me, which she did, a synopsis of the type of work that has been as a result of some referrals. And that list I know is growing every week in the fact. And there's one thing that I want to inject to about your service that I find interesting when I'm speaking to a senior, because when they're open to having someone come in, and I mentioned I've got just the perfect little business, a mother and daughter business, which is, to me, that's rewarding in itself. But the bottom line is that you are hiring seniors who are energetic, who have been around, not somebody just going to get a CNA license or a health aide that's very young. And I find that, and I think you'll agree, that the seniors that you are placing with seniors, they can relate. They have something to be able to communicate about. You know, they're not on different generations that far apart.
We joke that they know what a phone book is.
Exactly, exactly.
I think that point is emphasized by the fact that you had a lady that once she read an article we had in Hometown News about our organization, she called you, she couldn't find a job.
That's right.
She didn't have a computer, and what was the success story there?
Well, as a matter of fact, we just learned from your mother, your partner, that she's turned out to be one of your best employees.
Yes, she is fantastic.
So she called looking for
heart.
She called looking for employment. She told me briefly that she had some caregiving background, and immediately I thought, perfect. Here's a senior looking for work, and bingo.
And I told Kay, we'll put an order for 10 more, just like her. She's wonderful. She does have that caregiving background.
Yes.
She's a senior. She understands. She's patient. She's enthusiastic. She goes above and beyond, looking for ways to help.
But she had a little different, what was her background? It was her background, I think we talked about what she did, or...
Well, we have another lady, too, that you had met, too, that is still kind of pending there. Different background. I want to say it was administrative.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we have
No, what I'm saying is that the lady that went to work at Jennifer's place, her background lent good credentials for her doing the type of work she's doing.
That's
she was
right.
a very outgoing person.
Exactly.
She was neat, she was trim,
Yes.
she spoke well, verbalized well, and you could tell that she was a caring person from the way she talked. So when you started out, you had this many people working. Now you got this many people working for you.
And it's amazing, the people that work for us all do have a caregiving background, whether it's in a professional manner or they've taken care of their mom, their dad, their wife, their husband. So they all have that caregiving background. But we've got retired professors, people who worked on Wall Street, retired RNs. It's just amazing the backgrounds that they have.
It's amazing when you say retired RNs. That's good. Too often, I think, Jennifer and Kay, people that are looking for help and assistance want to try to get the ultimate in care to start off with. When they don't need a silo, they can start down lower and work their way up. And that's why every time I do a show like this, I always talk about what I call elements of care. Where does Seniors Helping Seniors fit in the hierarchy of care, where you have some minimal care to nursing home care? Where are you on this slope?
We're the first step.
You're right down there.
We are. We're the first step, and we are really good at those folks who, I don't want help. I know I might need help, but I really don't want help.
Right.
We're a comfortable transition into care for them. Because it is seniors coming in and helping seniors, and it's more like a friend coming to visit than someone in scrubs who is just worried about the medical. So we're that initial step in. And if it's something where, we'll get calls occasionally where they are medically fragile or they need help transferring from one place to the other, we can't do that. We can't do that hands-on medical care. So we will make sure that we refer them on. We'll be honest about that.
The reason I asked Jennifer that, folks, was that Kay has put down a breakdown of calls. So we see all our calls are logged on a computer, so we can go back and review what I call the hierarchy of needs. And that's going to be a basic stepping stone as we develop a plan for aging with dignity for Brevard County. We are going to become better advocates for senior issues. And that's what I want you to get from this show today, to see how a very low element of care that is extremely important can be provided at a very reasonable cost to the other part of this equation that tells you how to access people like Jennifer. But when Kay put together this list of breakdown of calls, affordable housing was the first need, transportation was the second need, and the third was hands-off care and insurance, meaning Shine and Jennifer Helin's group, Seniors Helping Seniors. Those are facts, folks. They're not somebody saying, this is what we think we need. This is really truth.
That's right.
So I think that I really want you to talk a little bit about all the things specifically that you do, but in particular transportation, because where we're filming this show today at the Space Coast Center for Independent Living, they have a transportation program. And for those of you that don't know, this organization, the Space Coast Center for Independent Living, will take a veteran from Titusville, Florida, to the VA clinic and back home for a $10 round trip. Think about that. But they also do many other things. But you do the same thing.
We do, and often we'll all work together because that's really important. I was just out last week to a gentleman's house, and we were going over his needs, and one of them was transportation. But his finances are such that he really needs to watch how he's spending his money. He needs to spend it wisely. So I gave him Space Coast Center for Independent Living. I said, use them. If you know you have a doctor's appointment coming up, if you know you have things coming up, call them. It'll be more cost effective for you to do that. But if you have a last minute need, give us a call. Because typically they need a little bit of forewarning, for scheduling purposes, where we can go out pretty quickly. So, well, we did the assessment and we will have him as a client. Space Coast Center for Independent Living will be helping him primarily and will be a backup.
Seniors have a great need to be able to talk to somebody. There are a lot of people that say, well, I want to be a hermit. Not many. When people really admit it, they miss the companionship of a spouse or friend. But let's say if somebody was living alone and they needed to go to an assisted living facility simply because they couldn't do certain things, and they were going to pay $6,000 a month to be in an assisted living facility, yet at the same time, your service could go in there, and I think it's something like $16 an hour in a unit of 2 hours. You could take them shopping, push them through the store in a wheelchair, help them get their food, take them home, put the food away. What if they did that once every 2 weeks, went shopping like that? Get them out, get a break. Your people could go in and help them vacuum and tidy up the house and do things like that. Fix meals. You even have a capability, I think, now where you have a handyman type service. They go and change light bulbs, do things, keep those seniors off of ladders.
Batteries, smoke detectors,
What else? What else do you all do that are simple things that we take for granted?
We do have a handyman. We have a couple of them actually, and they will do things that you wouldn't hire a contractor for, and things that we probably do in our houses that we don't even think twice about. But we do want to prevent falls. We don't want anybody on a ladder doing smoke detectors. We have a lot of widows where their husbands really took care of everything for a long time. So now replacing the air conditioning, the
Freon?
no, not the Freon, that's terrible. I'm having my own little senior moment. There you go. Thank you, Kay.
What was that?
The filter, replacing the air conditioning filters.
Filters, okay.
Going out and just doing those little things when something little breaks that normally we wouldn't hire anybody to do, but that need to be done around the house. I'll tell them, get that list ready. Everything that you can think of, keep him busy, because we do have that 2 hour minimum. And he will go and he will do he's washed windows before. Hey, you've got 20 minutes left. What can I do? And he's gone outside and washed windows for them. So whatever we can do to be helpful.
There you go.
Well, see, this is the advantage. Kay, I want you to explain to our viewers how you connect with what Jennifer is talking about, what she does, and what you see or hear when you get that phone call, and how you take and say, that phone call needs to go to Jennifer, or that phone call needs to go to an attorney.
Right.
Talk about that.
Well, and as I mentioned earlier, that, I find that oftentimes I get a call, it's more than one issue. But specifically, and I wanted to comment on the fact that a lot of times seniors are released from rehab or et cetera in the hospital, and they are with an RN. I'm getting calls and they say, well, I really don't need that level of care. And that's so common. And one of the things that I like about Jennifer's business is the fact that many of these companies require a very long contract, a commitment, whereas she has only a 2-hour minimum and can be very flexible in that. So that helps in explaining to a caller that, don't worry, because they're reluctant too. They haven't, this is a stranger coming into my home. This is something that I'm not accustomed to. But then I go on to say, I'm not going to give you someone that I personally wouldn't trust, because I have and always do follow up with anybody that I refer to. And if I don't call them, they call me back and say, thank you. Things are working out great.
Good.
So that is just the fulfillment of being able to be a good resource for seniors and caretakers to come to, because we are getting results, and it is a personal level.
That's extremely important, results.
Mm-hmm.
It's preferable to have good, positive results, not negative ones. What I like about you, Jennifer, and the way your organization works, and I can say this because I know it happens. When you go into a home, if you see that that person needs an elevation and an element of care, you call, make a recommendation, and you tell people. Too many caregiver organizations try to hold on to a client when it's not in the client's best interest to be held on to.
That's right.
So this is why I'm trying to put together a network of organizations that provide honest, open, needed, necessary services.
That's right.
And Kay is a wealth of information for that. I thought I had a pretty good network that I had developed over the last couple of years, but we will still get calls. I'll think, oh my gosh, I have no idea. Kay, we need a referral for this for a client, or I'll just refer them on. Here, please call Kay. I promise you she will listen and she will be able to help you.
Okay. I want to talk about one success story that I'm aware of in the time we have left, because I think it illustrates that often we go beyond the actual hands-on care part.
Right.
I was speaking to your group of people at a function, and a lady sitting on the other side of Kay, an Italian lady, she made a comment, or she'd been talking to Kay about their
Financial.
VA
VA.
benefits. Kay, tell our viewers exactly what happened, and you gotta do it quick.
Okay.
Tell them what happened, because I want people to understand the absolute need for them to understand what the type of service you can do and how it helped one of her people.
Right. Well, first of all, my heart goes out for this lady, because she happens to be one of the caregivers that I referred to Jennifer, that speaks Italian, to her resource. So that really went full circle. But when I had the pleasure of meeting her, she was telling me that they were concerned because they had previously helped their daughter financially because of a medical situation, and it was to the point that they may be losing their condo because of financial. And so I got talking to her, and I said, well, wait a minute, your husband was in the Korean War, is that correct? And she said, yes. So I said, you call me at the office. I want to document this and be able to understand all of the things that you're going through so I can help you. She did the following day. I spoke with her husband directly on the telephone. He had a 50% hearing loss because he was in the artillery and getting very, very minimal from the VA. And I said, something's not right with this picture. So you and I discussed, and I went directly to the head officer in this case and spoke to him after numerous attempts to get through and explained the situation of this couple and this fellow's background in the military. And he was telling me the eligibility factor, and so I communicated back with the couple, and I said, he wants you to call him directly now to make an appointment. So he personally is now going to follow through with this couple.
Yeah.
So
the man is eligible for benefits that he didn't know about.
Exactly.
That will help them live. But there are so many stories. I'm thinking about a vet that had a leg amputation that was trying to get a wheelchair ramp, and through a whole bunch of things, he couldn't get to the right people. They didn't understand. Called you, you called me. We figured out who we had to call.
Right.
The problem was resolved in 2 days.
That's it.
And it prevented a man from having to crawl up and down steps on his rear end.
Exactly.
Which is embarrassing, and it's not right. And here was a guy that had his leg amputated for serving 22 and a half years in the military.
Navy. That's right.
He didn't even have his staples out yet.
That's right.
He was doing it. But these are just a couple of success stories. And what happens when organizations work together? Jennifer, what would we got? You got about 22 seconds. You can talk about Seniors Helping Seniors. We've had your phone number flashed on the screen, so we don't have to worry about that. But why do you consider your organization important to the future care in Brevard County of seniors?
We are that first step, and we're a comfortable step into having someone in home for services, compassionate, caring seniors. And I encourage people to get the help now so that we can help and we can prevent falls and we can do things so that they hopefully won't need that additional care later.
Yeah, it doesn't cost a cent to make the phone call to Kate to see if your type of organization or some other similar organization is needed and necessary. Kate, your turn.
Well, I certainly want to encourage people, don't be afraid to pick up that telephone. Our telephone number, if it's not flashing on the screen, is 473-7770. We also have a website, Helping Seniors of Brevard.org. But I'm here to help, and I'll be honest with you, if I don't know the answer, by golly, I'm going to try to dig and find it for you. So I really, when I have somebody on the phone with me, I said, let me go to work for you, because that's really what I'm doing. I'm going to work for them.
And I want to thank you for watching today's episode of Helping Seniors. If you have questions or comments, please call us at 321-473-7770. For more information on senior care and resources, visit our website at helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Be sure to listen to Helping Seniors on radio station AM 1300 WMEL every Thursday afternoon at 1 p.m. and look for our Helping Seniors newsletter in the center section of Senior Magazine each month, and also Hometown News. I'm Joe Steckler, and thank you for joining us today for Helping Seniors.